All right, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Burn Down, 113 Burn Down. I'm Aish, your release lead. I've pinged the link to the meeting notes. Please add your attendance there if you've not done so. And the usual disclaimer is I've just started recording this session. I'll go on YouTube shortly after. So please be mindful of what you say. Great. With that, let's get started. Okay, the big agenda, we cut our beta on Wednesday after our burn down. Things went pretty smoothly. So we now have our 113 branch, and Cole enabled the CI signal jobs on the branch. We did have we took some time to stabilize it, mainly because some of the jobs run as post submits, and which were like a prerequisite for Cube ADM jobs to finish. So we kind of figured that out. That's how things go, but probably we'll update the test infra handbook to make that more clear. But as of now, the new branch is alive and kicking, and we are getting CI signal out of it. Good news is there's nothing surprising there. We are seeing the same failures that we are seeing in master. And that said, every day we are planning for a fast forward by default. Unless master is kind of broken, then we will not do a fast forward into 113. Doug and Hannes and Yang, they would be alternating and taking turns to do the fast forward. Tentative will be around 5 p.m. every day, but if any of you see any issues or are waiting for critical PRs that you want us to hold off the fast forward on, please ping me or Doug, and then we can coordinate that. But I'll be watching master before the fast forward each day. The next big thing is Code Slush. It's starting today at 5 p.m. I think we are, that's on track, because for all practical purposes, it's just adding one more really merge blocking criteria to Tide. So I will be also watching closely PRs that we are waiting on that don't have the 4 labels. So which is the SIG, kind, priority, and milestone. If you, so bug triage owners, leads, shadows, enhancement lead shadows, or anybody, or CI signal, if you see any PR you're waiting on that doesn't have these 4 after 5 p.m. today, please add them or ping me if you don't have permission to add some of those labels. So that's the big takeaway for Code Slush, and Code Freeze is coming up next week. Before we go on to individual sections update, any questions from anyone? Cool. Test infra, I put that first because of Code Slush. I just wanted to get that one first. Cole, do you have any updates there?
Not really. I think all the jobs are looking good. We have the PR ready to go in at 5 p.m. today for the tide changes.
Cool.
All of that should just automatically take effect as soon as it merges.
Cool. I'll send out a Code Slush email end of the day after you enable that PR, so that SIGs and owners are aware of it again.
Sure. Just let me know if you see any weird like merge behavior or anything like that, but I don't expect any issues.
Cool. Thank you. Could you link the PR here if you don't mind? Under test.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay. Next up is enhancements. Kendrick, welcome back. Oh, you're having some issues with your audio. You're sounding like a robo. Still not good. How about we can move to the next section while you want to figure that out?
How about now? Is that better?
Oh, better. Way better.
Okay.
But that one
okay.
Better.
Well, let's hope this works, because I'm basically tethering to my device right here. So I'll try to go quickly right now. We're in decent position right now. There's 7 issues that are at risk. 1 at limbo. Quickly going through these. CSI is kind of big one, as well as Windows servers. These are the two that are supposed to be going stable in this next release. Unfortunately, if these don't have any movement, it's going to be a very boring blog post to see exactly like what is going to happen for 113. So that's what we're kind of looking at here. On CSI, the last issue or the last comment in the issue actually has basically the 5 checks that we need to take care of. One of the PRs is already done. There's 2 in KK that are actually have a lot of active progress. When I checked this morning, they just had some work being done just a few hours prior. The big one is actually waiting for the 1.0 spec to actually be merged in as well. And then, of course, there's docs too. I know that you're more up to date on the stuff for Windows Server containers, so if you want to talk about that, you can. If not, I can try to go on and hit these other ones real quick.
You can hit the other ones, and we can circle back. As long as
okay. Yeah. So then you got the next one going down. These are all alphas as well going through here, and when we look into it, it basically for me it means that they are options to be punted to 114. And so in this one right here is the one that's in limbo is the CSI block storage support. And actually this one is, I believe, beta, if I'm not mistaken. This was something that was originally taken off the sheet and has now being asked to be back added onto the sheet because there's a new dev that is now taking care of it. So they actually have a lot of confidence that it's going to make it since it's just one PR. So I think that we should talk about that one and kind of see if we let them go along with it, just because I know there's a lot of things for CSI that are trying to happen for this release.
Yeah.
The next ones going down are all alphas that, as I said, that we could probably start looking at punting. Server-side apply. Last correspondence that was even on there a few days ago said that they're probably going to miss 113. So we should probably pull it just to make a judgment call on it. CSI inline volume support. There is progress happening, but there's a lot of things that are still failing. And with code freeze coming along pretty quickly, we should probably make a decision of what that should actually look like. The third-party device monitoring plugins. This one, the KEP is still even open. There's no PRs to track. That's why I just said we should just punt this one. There's no point in even holding around to it. And then migrate out of tree storage CSI drivers. Last correspondence said that they weren't going to make it, but we're waiting to see if SOD would confirm. But at this point, I think it's pretty safe to say that it can be pulled as well. And then the last one for raw block storage for vSphere, there's been no work in KK over the past 4 days since this is an in-tree volume driver and not out of tree. It should be taken with respect. Like it's code inside of KK. So if there's no work being done, then especially going into code freeze, we should probably go ahead and pull it as well.
Yeah. Cool. Do you have anything more to add, or are you done going through?
No, that's all I got to add.
Cool. Yeah, I had a chat with Michelle yesterday about all the CSI outstanding stuff. Yeah, they are super tight, and I kind of invited them to one of our burn downs next week, but they have their CSI stand up at the same time. So I'm going to do an initial scrub on all the CSI enhancements today, and all the open test failures, which is super concerning at this point. And I told her I'll be syncing with her next Tuesday, on the latest status, and we will have to pull all these out mostly by Wednesday or so if the tests don't stabilize and there's no progress, so that we at least have a couple of days for the test to be reverted. Anyway, the feature will be behind. They are not promoted anyways, so we'll have at least a couple of days for things to stabilize.
And you should get in the habit of inviting really compelling enhancement authors to come to this meeting. Because if they are trying to get something into the release, they need to be here to talk about the status.
Sounds good. Okay.
Themselves, so you don't have to do all the running around. Because if they're not here, then it's not shipping.
Okay, that's good to know. Awesome. I will then I'll make sure that they attend next week's burn down. And for as of as for Windows Server, again, this is super tight, though Patrick was confident of getting this in, and he said he'll be here next Wednesday, again, to give a final status before we see if this is going to go in or not. As for conformance coverage, I synced up with Aaron, who was sitting on the SIG ARC conversation about it. Looks like conformance coverage is going to be driven by Windows and conformance group together, and it's not a blocker for that feature going GA. So I don't think conformance is going to be blocking them, but they have a lot of other PRs, both code, tests, and docs open that might not make it in time. So I'll do some more scrubbing of this, and hopefully next week we can move all these out as we see. Any updates or any questions? Okay. Next up is CI Signal. I know Josh is probably at the airport waiting to catch a flight. Maria or Morten, do you guys want to give a quick update on the status? Maria, yeah, no.
Maria, you are muted.
Yeah. Okay. Let me go through. Do you want to try it quickly? If not, I can go through whatever's there. Okay. So we've been closely following CI Signal, especially on the new branch and on master. We have quite a few open issues. We try to bucket it there, as you can see. Mainly, there are a lot of CSI-related failures around the new alpha features that's been added, and also on a couple of new flex storage feature that's got added as well. Michelle and the storage folks are on top of it. We did see some PRs merge, but it really did not help things completely. So I'll be following up with them today more closely. And yeah, push comes to shove, we need to revert at least the alpha feature out quickly, and so that the tests don't become blocking. There were a few scalability, CPU consumption issues. We were seeing increased CPU consumption in scalability runs, and that they were triangulated to a couple of scheduler changes that went in. So Bobby reverted one of the changes yesterday. It still doesn't seem to help. So we are in the process of reverting another change, which could, in the hope that it will bring down CPU consumption to where it was a couple of weeks ago. And then we do have a few issues, both the taint nodes and the HPA failures, for which the PRs have merged. And we had at least one clean run, but we want to see a few more clean runs before we close them out. And a couple of new issues that cropped up were the COPS job. Basically, they ran out of account quota, and Justin now has a workaround PR where he is fixing the time zones to spread the load around a little bit more. But COPS job is currently failing on both master and branch, and the 113 branch. And then there's a bunch of upgrade, downgrade failures / flakes that we are seeing as well. The downgrade one is a little bit concerning because the job was reasonably stable and it started failing since today morning. So I'm following up with, again, the cluster lifecycle folks to hash this out slightly closely. And then there are a bunch of GKE upgrade failures. Now they're moved to the optional dashboard. For whatever's worth, I plan to ping the GKE on-call folks internally to see if they want to take a look at this. So the status there is still yellow because all of these could become blockers or extend into code freeze, and which we might have to have to include during code freeze timeframe. So that's the risk with all these failures there. Next up is bug triage. Nico, are you around? No. he was telling me he might not be able to join because of his Wi-Fi. Bug triage, we need to still follow up a little closely on all the open issues and try to map them to PRs that are open, specifically because once Code Slush begins, the PRs need to have the appropriate labels. Nico just did a scrub this morning. I'll have to follow up with him offline and take a look at these to see which of these issues don't have associated PRs and need a little bit more pushing. One quick thing that we are tracking closely is the license issue, where there's the link to the KT repo where there's an upgrade in the license that needs to happen, which then we need to pull from their repo down to KK. So this kind of became a burning issue yesterday, and there was good escalation, and the upstream fix has gone in. Now we have a PR in progress to pull the license changes into KK. So this is something that is landing right now. That's good. Any questions or anything from others? Cool. Next up is docs. Tim, are you there?
Hi, yeah. So we've got 4 enhancements that still need placeholder PRs for docs. So I think that 2 of those, they might not need docs PRs, so we'll kind of get that sorted soon. And then hopefully get the others also sorted in a couple of days.
Okay. I think most of them are replying to, even the open ones, I see activity where they are on it to open or they've already pinged you with the PRs. Let me know if you need any follow-up on any of those.
Yeah, sure thing. I think it's looking okay.
Okay, cool. And release notes.
Hey, what's up, y'all? 2 main things to note today that's different from Wednesday. So as I was saying on Wednesday, the plan is for on Monday, we're going to reach out to SIG leads and SIG chairs and get them to kind of review the notes that were provided by developers from their SIG over the release cycle and write like a paragraph of prose of new themes of what their SIG was working on. I included SIGs that I'm going to be reaching out to SIGs that didn't produce any release notes as well throughout the release cycle, just to see if maybe they've been working on stuff out of tree or what have you. I know a few SIG leads have brought up that they wanted to be included even though they're not necessarily working on entry stuff. So that is on track for Monday. So there's 2 things that you can review if you're interested in this. The first is the Google Doc that we're going to be sending SIG leads that has, the notes so far, the sections they need to fill in, the to-dos of what needs to be done. That Google Doc is ready and it's linked in the notes here. And the other thing is the draft comms that me and all of the shadows are going to we're going to divvy up the SIG leads on Monday, use this comms template as a guide to reach out to the SIG leads. So if anyone has any feedback on any of that, definitely let me know, and I'll incorporate it over the weekend. And then on Monday, we'll be firmly in slush, and we'll be giving SIG leads about a week and a half to fill all that in.
Yeah. Thanks for putting that together, Mike. Yeah, I think next week might be a little bit early, but we decided we'd still send it out considering people might be out for KubeCon later next week and also the week after that. So we just wanted a slightly longer window to give to the SIG leads to fill things out. But yeah, and Kendrick and others and part of the release team, if you want to take a look at the release notes draft and point out if something needs to be added or updated, that'll be great. I will go over this this weekend as well. Next up, comms. I don't know if Caitlin is there on the call.
I think she's on the road, but I'm one of the shadows. I could paste in the notes for the document. Basically the same thing as release notes, except our deadline is on Tuesday. We've got everything split up as the features and things like that, so that's what we're planning on on reaching out to the SIG leads and stuff. I have nothing really more to add other than the links into the notes, but things are looking pretty good. There's a handful of us, and schedule's nice and front loaded. So,
as Kendrick was saying, if things fall out, I think we might have a really thin blog post. But yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on the status there.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Before we move on to some announcements / questions, any other concerns, feedback at this point? Cool. So general announcements, 114 team is going to begin drafting. I sent out an email to the current leads to start thinking about your successors. If you want someone from your shadow you think might be ready for the role, or if you want to continue, or if you have anybody else who might be suited for the role, please think about it. And Stephen Augustus was going to, as usual, start a issue rolling and a corresponding PR to get this all lined up in the upcoming weeks. And there was also some discussion in Slack around having an informal doc / interview process for shadows. I will let Stephen and Josh hash that out, because Josh did that for 113 and they have a good thriving shadow process going on. So whatever works without adding much friction to drafting more people into the team, I would let them hash that out. KubeCon Shanghai is next week. We have most folks traveling right now and in the course of next week. I know Aaron and Josh are going to be out. I wanted to know if any other lead is planning to be away next week. And if so, then I'll know to follow up with their shadows who are available. If not, I think it's just Aaron and Josh. If you are, just fill out the section in the meeting notes and I will follow up with your shadows for updates. Burn downs will still happen as per schedule. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday of next week. And we'll be tracking progress towards code freeze more closely. That's all I had. Cool. Any questions? Okay, if not, 6 minutes of your life back. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks a lot for all your efforts. And we'll see whoever is here on Monday. And have a good KubeCon, guys. Bye.
Yay. Bye, everybody.